So, look, we all know the system's broken, but we're not just going to complain about it today. Nah, today we're going to talk about how to hijack the whole thing. Let's get into it.
You know that feeling, right? You clock in, you do your job, you play by the rules, but you just can't shake this nagging sense that the machine you're serving is, well, it's kind of nuts.
I mean, it's a system that was designed way back in the industrial era. It was literally built to turn people into cogs, labor units, and turn the planet into raw materials. Yeah, it built nations and all that, but let's be honest, it kind of starved our souls in the process.
So forget just complaining. Today, we're looking at an actual plan, a clever, kind of subversive, and honestly, a surprisingly hopeful plan to grab the machine's own levers and steer this thing in a totally new direction. Yeah, you heard me. This is a heist.
First up, let's take a good look at our target. Section 1. Our ridiculous reality.
Oh, you've heard this one, haven't you? It's the magic spell they use to shut down any good idea, any shred of common sense, or just basic human decency. It's the ultimate conversation killer. But what does it even mean? No, I'm serious. Let's try it. Yes, operator? Could you connect me to corporate, please? Yeah, the head honcho, the one who makes the policies. You can't, right? Because there's nobody there. It's not a person. It's a ghost. It's a ghost in the machine that we all pretend is real, to enforce these rules that usually don't help anyone, especially not us, the actual people the system depends on.
All right, Section 2, a comically bad idea. Because sometimes, to see how messed up the game is, you gotta take its logic and just blow it up.
The machine is always yelling that it needs more money, more profit, more shareholder value. Okay, fine. You want money? Let's just solve your problem. For good. So here's the plan. It's genius. Everybody, on 3, we empty our bank accounts, we grab all the cash, all the credit cards, the student loan statements, the mortgages, all of it, and we just dump it in a giant pile on Wall Street's front door. There, you wanted it, you got it. Are you happy now? Of course not, because it was never really just about the money.
See? That little thought experiment shows you just how absurd the whole thing is. But it doesn't really change anything. To really hijack the system, you can't just throw money at it. You've got to be smarter. You have to use its own rules, its own mechanics against it.
Which brings us to Section 3, the real heist. Okay, now this is the actual blueprint. It's called the Joseph leverage strategy. You know how debt collectors buy your debt for pennies on the dollar just so they can harass you for a profit? Well, this strategy flips that whole script. What if a bunch of us got together and bought that exact same debt? Not to collect it, but to forgive it. Okay, check this out, because this slide lays it out perfectly. Let's say you have a $23,000 car loan you just can't pay. The old way? Some collector buys it for $5,000 and then makes your life a living hell trying to squeeze $30,000 out of you. It's brutal. Your dignity is gone. Now, the heist, a redemption guild buys that same loan for the same $5,000, but instead of collecting, they say, hey, let's make a deal. Your debt is forgiven. In exchange, can you help us build a community garden? All of a sudden, that weapon of shame becomes a tool to restore everything.
So let's get into the nitty-gritty. Part 4, the master plan. Here's how this whole thing actually works. It's a 3-step play. First, a redemption fund goes out and buys up portfolios of debt on the cheap, just like the collectors do. But then, and this is the genius part, that debt gets converted into something called a labor covenant. Basically, you repay it by working on community projects. And finally, you have people on the ground, stewards, connecting the money and the people to the projects that really matter.
And look, they've already thought through the problems. This is what's so brilliant. You're thinking, this sounds too complicated. Well, they'd use tech and local leaders to organize it. Worried about legal issues? They'd create new hybrid contracts. What about the investors? They want a return, right? Well, the return isn't just money. It's a stronger community, newly skilled workers, and a better world. That's a hell of a return on investment.
Now, just imagine a live dashboard for this heist, but instead of tracking profits, it's tracking redemption. We're talking over $2 million in debt just gone, almost 200 families set free, 30,000 hours of work poured back into neighborhoods, 22 community gardens built. See, this isn't just about erasing a negative number. It's about creating a huge positive.
And what this all leads to, ultimately, is Section 5, the new game. A whole new game with a completely different set of rules.
For the last few decades, we've been playing by the Jack Welch model. Shareholder profits are God. And that leads to treating people like costs to be cut, and communities like things to be used up. The result? Brittle companies and zero trust. The new game, let's call it the Mosaic model, is all about stewardship. It understands that a business is an ecosystem. And when you take care of every part of it, your people, your customers, your community, the whole thing doesn't just survive, it thrives.
And if you're thinking, yeah, right, that's just some feel-good fantasy, I want you to take a look at Costco's actual corporate priority list. This is one of the most successful retailers on the planet. Now, where do you see reward shareholders on that list? Yeah, dead last. And that's on purpose.
And here's the crazy paradox, straight from their CEO. By putting shareholders last, they actually create massive long-term value for them. Why? Because they've built an ecosystem based on loyalty and resilience. They're not just playing the game better, they're playing a whole new game.
Which really leaves you with just one final question to chew on. What's actually more absurd? A system that is designed to create debt slaves? Or one that conspires to set them free?